So in terms of the action requested this afternoon, obviously, I think the first decision point will need to be made regarding the direction in terms of the alternative, whether, how quickly, how far and how quickly impact fees are proposed to increase, whether it's the 100% in December, again, which was mostly sort of what was advertised, or alternatively 75% in this December and then 100% in next December as presented by staff. That probably would be the first consensus or decision point. And then just a reminder that any decision or recommendation to move forward would need a 2/3 vote of the board.
As you consider an amendment to the Orange County Code relating to transportation impact fees, I request that you prioritize the long-term economic health of the county versus the short-term profit margin of inferior developers. Please do not incentivize the creation of sprawl by reducing developer responsibility for the cost of connective infrastructure. Creative and competent developers can bring projects to urban Orange County without destroying wetlands and existing animal habitats.
Housing developments, impact fees were kept low as an incentive. I understand that. But that was back way years ago. Cost of living has gone up, everything has gone up. And by restricting and keeping transportation impact fees low, we're affecting the quality of our life here. A trip that used to take me 15 minutes now takes me an hour. And that's partially due to the fact that we have not kept up with the transportation infrastructure, which is primarily financed by impact fees.
Nearly a lifelong resident of Orange County, and I have watched developers take advantage, build things cheaply, destroy all the trees, degrade the quality of life of citizens, make a lot of profit, move on down the road. And the taxpayers and the government are left with the cost. And then we have fear-mongering of the sky is going to fall if we raise these prices a little bit, because they've had inflated profits and greed for decades. And my quality of life has suffered. And it's time for it to stop. And as an aside, because people have covered some points very well, I will say I've recently gotten back from a trip to Spain, and I was in Barcelona, Madrid, and Valencia. And I was kind of depressed coming back here because my quality of life isn't as good. And there was a lot of green space and great public transportation and bike paths that went through parks that transected city. And you know what? As a tourist, it was really easy for me to get around and do what? Spend money. And that's what it's about, money. So the money can go to the developers, or the money can go to increase the quality of life for all of us. It's been on our backs for too long. And the developers being greedy and having inflated profits, and quite frankly, I'm appalled that they have been at 56% reduced fees for this long. That is negligent on the behalf of the government that represents me. Thank you, Commissioner Bonilla, for bringing that to our attention in your district. So I would like 100%. The sky's not going to fall. The market's doing great right now. They're not going to suffer. There's still going to be houses, but people need to be able to get around from all socioeconomic levels for a lot of different reasons. We need to have a pleasant city. Thank you.
I come from a family of residential home builders, and I'm here to tell you the only thing increasing this fee is going to affect is their profit margin. They're going to be just fine in this market we're in currently right now. So I would certainly encourage you to increase the fee as soon as possible. We came out of 2008 with a dead real estate market, and we're not in that market anymore. We're in a very strong real estate market. And I heard a podcast on NPR where they said we have a deficit of homes in Florida for the next 10 years. So regardless if you raise the price or not, there's still going to be that deficit. And if you don't raise the price, the homes are still not affordable for most people that live here. So raising the price isn't going to help people who cannot afford to buy a home. Maybe that additional revenue can be used to help people who can't afford to buy a home.
transportation impact fees to the levels, 100% of the levels proposed in the study, essentially quadrupling them in certain cases. And having them all hit at once in December will not help the current housing situation in the least. In fact, it will do exactly the opposite. You cannot make housing more affordable by making it more expensive to produce. And going to 100% in December will certainly do that. It will have the effect of causing builders to build even more expensive housing, or alternatively, builders will simply not be able to build in the county. This will have the effect of further constraining the supply of housing relative to the demand. And then the demand continues to grow. And we have new employers like Disney's building a new campus in Lake Nona, which will continue to drive on the demand side.
It's almost hilarious at this point because it's like a broken record. The excuse again today was affordable housing. That is always the excuse. Yet there's been a discount at 56% since 2012. And we are in a worse situation today with affordable housing than we were back in 2012. So how did discounting the transportation impact fees help with affordable housing? It didn't. And we have evidence to show that. And I have good news though. The new policy that we're presenting here is 0% impact fees for affordable housing. So there is no excuse now. I don't understand why that excuse was even used again when we put in a solution for that in this policy. I'm starting to wonder if they even read it. And, you know, for them to say that they didn't lobby in Tallahassee this past session for the preemption, I mean, if anyone believes that, there's a winged unicorn on the roof ready to take someone for a trip. Because in their legislative priorities, every single year they have that they would lobby to keep impact fees low. And then they sent us a letter. So in this letter, they are blaming us for discounting, and that's why we have these problems, but then they're asking us to discount. It doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, it just seems like they're telling us that we should do 100%. So that's what I am supporting, to go straight to 100%. There's no reason to discount this anymore.
Well, there's been an experiment run on whether or not keeping impact fees, you know, at a set level would improve the inventory of affordable housing. And you know what the experiment results are? No, we didn't get that. You know, this week my office is scrounging around to try to figure out how to get some funds together for some additional safety measures at an intersection where kids are crossing. And this is in an area surrounded by $800,000 brand new homes. So yeah, I think it's got to be as soon as possible. I think it's a safety issue, and I think that you know, that affordable housing is provided a great deal of incentives already within our structure.
But after reading this 8-page document where, you know, it's our fault because of decisions that were made, and we just have to deal with it. So because I don't want the county to be in a position where we're getting blamed for trying to help an industry, clearly they have their own ulterior motives. So at this point, I am, you know, leaning towards the 100% full impact fees to be paid. So, and like I said, sometimes when you do things like this, you have repercussions.
We have a motion, I believe, Commissioner Wilson said, to 100%.
100%.
Effective this December. And I believe the second came from Commissioner Bonilla. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no.
No.
I heard a no. Okay. All right. The motion passes.